Agenda is approving the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
A second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, and second by Kiefer to approve the agenda as presented. Favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Public comment. Anyone listening on the phone would like to make a public comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move to item 3, review and action regarding approval of the August 6th minutes. I would suggest we just approve the first set of minutes. We were just handed the 6 pages of minutes, and I certainly haven't had time to read it.
I agree.
So what was your recommendation? Mark?
We'll just approve the first meeting that day morning, the supervisor's meeting.
The 4 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah. Those meetings.
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the board of supervisor meeting on August 6th, 4 p.m.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer, and second by Jorgensen to approve the Board of Supervisors minutes at 4 p.m. meeting on August 6th. Further discussion? Any comment from anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Review action regarding approval of claims.
I didn't see anything.
The wet, where does the sheriff's department get most of their fuel? Do they just get it random places within the county, or how does that work? They use a Lex.
Yeah, so I believe they could be anywhere, so I believe they use that Lex card now. Wish that sometime.
I remember an earlier conversation about that. So do they?
I believe it's the same as what secondary roads uses, and I'm not sure, but I don't think they're using.
They're not. That's all I had.
I was wondering about that too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Make a motion to approve claims.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, second by Kiefer to approve the claims as presented. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Updates on various boards, commissions, and activities since the last meeting.
I had a meeting the same night as our conservation meeting, the same night as our meeting at the fairgrounds. So I didn't attend that, but and I don't have any feedback from that either. I have had conversations with the chairman of the EMS. He has some questions you'd like for the board, and I don't know if this is the time for that or not, or 3 or 4 questions of timing. Is that something that will work now?
Yeah, sure. You can report on that meeting. You bet.
Okay, it was just,
We're not gonna get into it in the discussion about it, but yeah, you tell us what to do.
okay, if you'd like to know who's contacting the attorney for ballot language, will they put it together except for the dollar amount? He asked for funding funds for educational material. He wondered if that was in the process. The committee would like sources of funding identified. It could be that we can lower the levy or hospitals, or it could be that source of funding identified. It could be that we can lower the levy hospital. If the hospital steps up, the levy could also lower if it's initiated. In other words, 650 fifth year. So it's at the bottom 550, so we can set a reserve. I think I know the answer to this one. It's the 19th, but the last question is board of supervisors meeting with the joint board is on the 19th. So want to respond to the chair sometime that way, that'd be
Okay.
And I think we all probably got emails, and I had phone calls and people visiting regarding the wind turbine meeting, and with pro and con, lots of interaction that way. Thumbs up for me.
I attended Floyd County Communication Advisory and Floyd County Service Board meeting on 8th. Also attended Cultural Entertainment District Grant Committee on Friday the 9th. And after that Cultural Entertainment District meeting, Mayor Dean Andrews asked me to stay so we could visit. And he wanted me to tell the board that he's in favor of not putting anything on the ballot for the EMS this year. He's in Scotland now. He's not in town, but he wanted me to share his thoughts with the board. That's all.
Since our meeting on August 6th, I haven't had any meetings on any county committees or boards, and like most of you, I did receive comments on the first reading of the ordinance. Item 6, review action regarding Motorola change order for number 4 for $9,000 to extend fiber run at the Rockford Greenfield site and provide and install a second conduit to accommodate a second fiber line. Reading through all these emails, trying to understand that all. Jason, explain, or Dennis, if you would please explain what being considered.
So basically, the gist of it is that when Motorola bid the project, they only bid 50 feet of fiber from the right of way to the tower because they weren't sure where exactly that tower was going to end up in the end. So they need to add an extra 50 feet of fiber. And they give two choices. One big, and Spencer Cruz from Omnitel suggested that they lay a second line of fiber in the same trench for redundancy purposes in case one of them would get hit, all the way up to the shelter building at the base of the tower. Or there's a second option of just one single fiber at a 50 foot addition. So if you chose to go with the redundant route, that option would cost $9,000. But if you decided to just leave it as a single run of fiber, that's a $2,000 option.
How much is the second option? 2,000.
2,000. It'd be a savings of $7,000.
I noticed in the discussion on some of the emails, we talked about how long it would take to repair it if it ever was broken. That's about 6 hours.
That's what they claim, yes.
If you're putting this 2-second cable in the same trench, isn't it likely that both cables would break if something was done?
That was the first question that I had. Of, if you're going to do something redundant, it should be separate from your first source. So I mean,
Different trench.
right. So I mean, it's up to you guys, but I'm not laying trench. I don't know how far, I don't know how wide this trench is. I don't know how far apart the fiber would be in that same trench, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when I read that was, well, I think you're getting what I'm thinking. So.
Deputy Sheriff Barnes have any other comments that he made on that, or I saw he had an email there.
Sorry, Mark.
Does Travis Barnes have any remarks about the trenches?
He had an initial agreement that he would be fine with the second line, but
Second line in the same ditch.
yeah.
And then, so on here, Lynn is the project manager.
Okay.
Who made a response that Jason's argument was correct. That's why they quoted that entirely separate trench. Or they could quote entirely second trench if you wanted the redundancy, which we don't have a quote for that.
I'm sure it'd be more than.
Oh, you mean a
9.
separate trench? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, it
what
would be
he said.
much more than
Yeah, he
that,
doesn't
yeah.
have that
Yeah.
in here.
And I think that he even went on further to say that they've never done a project where they've done a second trench.
Yes. Well, you kind of concur with putting two in the same trench.
Are they digging that or are they dragging this in?
I'm not for sure on that.
Because if they're dragging it, I'm pretty certain it's gonna be side by side.
You
They get
boring, you mean? You're talking about?
boring, yeah, they do drag and bore.
Based on what I'm reading, I don't see a reason to have a redundant line in the same trench at a cost of additional $7,000. I mean, according to them, people who.
And during those 6 hours, if it would be down, the system wouldn't be down. There's other, the towers can communicate with each other over the air as well. So we wouldn't just be dead in the water there if we had a cut, as it was explained to me.
Seems that change order one with option one would save the project $7,000 and not expose it to any undue downtime, really.
It would be change order number 4, right?
Four.
And then option number 2, I think, is the one that you,
Thank you.
that's the $2,000 option.
Yeah. Didn't get what, he would just redo option 4 with 2,000.
Yeah. Yep. I talked to him on the phone on Friday and he said, let me know after this meeting and he would send over an updated change order with that option on it.
Supervisor Keith, do you have any objections to that?
I would agree with you, Mark. I'm not sure what we're getting much of a benefit. I think we need to do that. What do you think, Jen?
I'm also in agreement with you, yeah. They're too close together to get any benefit.
Okay, so we're considering which change order now?
We change order 4, but it would be with $2,000.
Okay, option 2, single conduit into the shelter. At $2,000.
And we won't see that option 4, so he'll redo that, just get back to him, and we'll have to sign him there.
So we need a motion and a second to consider the change to a single conduit into the shelter at a cost of $2,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So change order 4 for $2,000.
All right.
Motion to approve change order for $2,000. Motorola order.
Second.
Have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer to approve change order 4 for the Motorola project for $2,000 to extend fiber run at the Roxbury Greenfield. Is there further discussion? Anyone like to comment, listen on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 7, review action regarding Motorola change order 5 for $3,928.82 for additional concrete work at Charles City Hall.
So this one will change just a little bit. The language in this one will change just a little bit now since your previous action, because the numbers on here will be a little bit different. They're saying that after change order number 4, we'd have $3,929 left over. And that amount would cover this change order, and we'd basically be at a 0 then if you agreed to this one. But we'll have more in there now than the 3,900 because we've just made that savings of 5,000 or 7,000. But this came up, something that they discovered after they started digging. They just needed to go a little bit further, and they've had to come on site one or two more times since the initial visit because of the rains that we got. And City Hall had some drainage issues over there with some flood tiles, so it kind of messed things up a little bit in that initial visit. But
The City Hall, completed that
they have
repair.
they have fixed their drain tile, yes.
Okay.
We haven't poured the concrete yet, though. Are they ready to do that? Quick, or
When you say they, do you mean Motorola or the city?
city?
The city is not sure when they're going to get their portion poured, so Ben and Travis and I have been talking, and we just told Len to, when Pyramid comes back to finish up our part of the tower project, just put a form across for ours, and then when the city's contractor comes back, they can finish theirs, because I believe that either RJ or Len reached out to Hugh and the city engineer, and neither one of them were completely sure when their contractor was gonna come back, so we didn't wanna hold things up, so we just told them to pour ours and get it going.
So this new price is $5,600, but 5622 38 or 3. No, that's the total price.
The new cost is gonna be $4,736,
4,700.
but he said that since we had that credit on the books at $3,900, he would just make it a wash, and he wouldn't charge us the difference between the 47 and the 39. He was just gonna say, yeah, we'll just charge you 39 for this change order, and then that would put us at a zero balance. But like I said, we'll have a few more $1,000 now sitting there because of your last agreement.
So it's still gonna be the 39,2982 regardless of the,
That's what they committed to, so.
of the netting zero on the debit.
Right. That particular scenario wasn't discussed, but I don't know, paper here.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 5, $3,928.82 for the additional concrete work required at Charles City.
I'll second.
There's been a motion made by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Morgan to approve change order 5, Motorola contract for $3,928.82 for additional concrete for at City Hall. Is there further discussion? Anyone listening on the phone would like to comment on this? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Period.
Thank you.
You bet,
I'll
thank
get you that updated change orders as I get it.
All right, item 8, review action regarding application for homestead tax credit exemption, disabled veteran homestead property tax credit, homestead 65, and military service property tax exemption. This is in your packet was the all of them, well, there were numbers that were, some of them were disallowed by the county assessor. But they're all available for review in the assessor's office.
come down for this.
And the ones that were in your packet were the ones that were disallowed, and they were pretty clearly stated why, and all the reasons they $65.
Is Randy on the phone?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not at my office today, so.
So we're just reviewing the credits, and we see the ones that have been disallowed that are in our packet, and is there anything else that you need to add?
No, not unless you guys have any questions about them. There was some disallowances. Again, I don't have the credits in front of me, the disallowed applications, but there were some ones that were disallowed because the people signed up for the Homestead 65 exemption, and you have to be 65 before January 1st. And the applications were people that turned 65 between January 1st and July 1st when the application was submitted. So those are disallowed. There is also a disabled veteran disallowance. And like I said, that's all I can recall off the top of my head. The disabled veteran disallowance is disallowed because it's a new credit being applied, and the person that's applying is the spouse of a deceased veteran. And so, because it's a new credit, then she's not a qualified owner for a disabled veteran homestead. She would be qualified to have the credit as a homestead credit, but not a disabled veteran homestead credit because she is not a qualified owner. And it's not an application that's already on file, so it's not like a continuation of the credit. And I also think there is a military exemption that was disallowed because the DD 214 was not recorded in the recorder's office. So that has to be recorded on file in the recorder's office, and then the document, the book and page number from that has to be listed on the application. And that's how we verify that they qualify. The military exemption, you're required to have certain discharge regulations, and you have to serve so much time depending on if you were in the National Guard or active duty. And that's all listed on the DD 214. I also think there's a disallowance for military for someone that was discharged as uncharacterized. And again, it states you have to be honorably discharged. And then also on that same application, you have to be, your terms that you're active duty, your terms of service have to qualify that she will be so qualified to do this.
Well, you don't have it in front of you, but which one was that? I have several here. Which one was the disabled veteran one that you were talking about, or the veteran one that you were talking about?
So the disabled veteran one, her name is Dorothy, like Steinberg or something like that. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I want to hand applications over to the auditor. We don't have them anymore, I guess. So
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can. Yeah, Dorothy Steinberg.
Debbie Steinberg. Debbie.
Debbie, maybe it's Debbie. So like I said, so pursuant to its Iowa Code section 425.15 B, I think, says that the credit can be continued to be a state of an owner who is deceased of his wife and spouse as long as the divided spouse needs are married, and that says continue to be a state. And so that would mean that the credit would have already been in place for the owner of the property. It had already been qualified and applied and approved for the disabled veteran, and it would be continuing the application. So because this application is not been on file for the veteran who is the homeowner, not continue the credit for it. And that does differ from the homestead credit, where you be a qualified owner, have homestead credit, you would have the disease. Because you choose it for not being on it, then she would be a divided spouse to possibly beneficiary to the state. That does not make her a qualified owner for this homestead, which difference between those two credit is the homestead credit is basically wherever the property is located. The levy rate is $4,860. So it's like $150 to $180 depending on where you live in the county. The disabled veteran homestead exempts us from basically all of their property tax. But there are some limitations based on if it has property. If you have more than 2 acres, more than 40 acres, anything over that is exempted. But we only have a handful of credits if that's an issue. Most of these exempt them from all property taxes. And that's why there's different qualifications.
Well, thank you for the explanation. Is there any questions on any of the credits or anything you may have?
As I go through them, I see almost all of them are declined for one reason or another. Is there any that we're going to approve today?
Oh, yeah.
That's on this page.
There's,
Oh, that's above.
136 homestead,
Okay.
8 DDHs, 70 house file 65, 22 military, 34 homestead and homestead 65.
Scroll back up to that, I saw that.
So your motion,
A little explanation on those. The Homestead 65 is a new credit, that was started last year. So we approved a bulk of them there. So we're gonna have people every year that already have the homestead credit and they're applying for the over 65 homestead exemption. So that's why you're gonna start seeing those new counts. So we'll have people that are applying for homestead exemption on the same application. There are people that are justifying for the homestead and that are justifying for the homestead exemption. But they put it all into the same form. So it's not cut dry as it was in the past.
so Brandy, was that number that for each of those disallowances, is that correct? I emailed you about
You
that.
have the disallowance in front of you, so you just can count whatever papers you have. I don't know, again, I'm not at my desk and I don't have any of that information with me. I'm on vacation today, so I'm answering this remotely as best I can.
So then you guys would have to tell me if those numbers are correct, because I can't come up with those numbers.
So again, if I'm, send me the scanned applications, I can count this for you right now, but I can't because I'm not there.
Would it be in our best interest to table it until, Randy was able to participate in person with the information in front of her?
I don't know what the disallowances are. I can't come up with the same numbers that they have. What was provided. I don't know.
Well, we have a discrepancy in the numbers, so it probably is, she doesn't have it in front of her, so, there's nothing that has to be done, by this meeting, I guess. Would you concur with that, Brandy?
No, it doesn't.
So numbers don't match up with the ones that we're talking about. I guess it's probably best not to take out. Safest.
I'll make a motion to table action regarding application for homestead tax credit exemption, disabled veteran, homestead property tax credit, homestead 65, and military service property tax exemption until our assessor Brandy is available to, and present to go through it with us.
That be at the next meeting, do you think? Brandy, you'll be around to be here at the next meeting?
Will that be next Monday?
Yes.
Okay, I will. I have ISAC Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so as long as it's not Monday or Tuesday, I'm available.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen and seconded by Kiefer to table the consideration of the application for homestead tax credit exemption, disabled veterans, homestead property tax credit, homestead 65, and military service property tax exemption until the board's next meeting on August 19th. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 9, review and action regarding the time, date, and location of the second read of the proposed amendment to Floyd County's ordinance regarding wind energy conversion systems and battery energy storage systems due to a scheduling conflict. When we got to that about 11:50 p.m., I didn't even think about the fact that it was going to conflict with the meeting that I'll be attending regarding the Floyd County Medical Center Board of Trustees with that proposal. And so we scheduled it. It's my fault, but I just didn't think of it at that time. So we need to reschedule the hearing because we can't change the date, and there's a real deadline on that. Obviously, if we're going to have any consideration from the hospital, we have to have a proposed ballot question approved by August 28th, so we really can't postpone that anymore. So there is a need to change the meeting of the second reading. In your packet, there was some discussion regarding times that it doesn't work for people. Obviously, we don't want to move it up. in front of the time that it was proposed. But John Robbins, who we want to have there, is listed the times that do not work for him. Pretty much you're getting, once you get past the 19th, don't have a lot of, and then there's the conflicts that some county departments head would like to be present at the second reading. And many of them are going to be attending the ISAC conference, like Brandy just mentioned, from August 21st to 23rd. And then Auditor Carr said she'll be on vacation from the afternoon of September 4th and be back on September 16th. So there's a little time to work this in there. I kind of looked at all these dates and times and came up with Tuesday, September 3rd as a possible time for a second reading. Seems to meet all the criteria of getting all the people present. So that's kind of what I would propose. For the second reading.
What about the 20th of August or the 26th? Dates available?
26 is not available for John that whole week.
You need to be there.
I
Okay,
would.
okay.
Could you still do it on the 19th? Just do it.
You asking to do it on the 9th, have the second reading in the morning of
Or,
the day.
or even 2 o'clock.
We've been having those kind of at a consistent time and place in the evening, and we've been getting pretty good attendance. I don't know, but that's a real good idea to change that into an afternoon meeting. A lot of people are getting used to coming, so.
When would, so you mentioned September 3rd, like big for the second reading. Gloria leaves on the 4th, which would, 17th, doing both meetings, trying to call both meetings now.
No, we're just setting the second one. Just changing it to the conflict due to the schedule.
Third looks like it should be the best day.
September 3rd. I'm just looking at my personal. Like I make September 3rd.
Or did you say the
20th of August. Wouldn't that work too?
20th? Doesn't look like a conflict for John. I don't know about him.
Twentieth work for anybody else?
We would have a board meeting, normal board meeting on the 19th.
Yes.
I don't have anything to look at.
I don't either.
One of the issues that has come up is due to the number of amendments and some of the questions that are involved with them. There is going to be some review of those amendments that has already occurred with the county attorney, and there's certainly some more exhaustive detail that needs to be done to determine the effect of some of those amendments. So I'm thinking the 20th is a little tight for that reason.
It's just a little over a week from today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with September third too. I guess either one would work for me, 20th or the third. By the third, all that review should be done. County attorney, and
The county attorney's done,
he's done already.
unless you guys have asked him to do more than what he's provided. He thinks he's done unless you want to.
He is done.
I don't know if he's done. What you saw was, what you saw didn't look like it was completed. Um, Certainly there were other amendments that I feel need to be reviewed to see the impact of them, because without getting into any detail on that, which is not on our agenda today, I'm just saying the number of them and the variety of them certainly requires a little more thorough examination before they're considered, and I don't know if that's gonna get done by the 20th, I just don't.
September third is the date then.
Third for a second reading.
Time and place,
Like you said, 6:30 seems to work for a lot of people, and they're getting used to that. Toss a coin if we're gonna need to, I think we could get in the law enforcement center. I don't know.
that's where it was scheduled
Was
originally.
I think we can do it here.
Yeah.
$16.
Promotion.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to hold the second reading. Proposed amendment for the Floyd County ordinance number 2011-2 regarding wind energy conversion systems and battery energy storage systems. Due to scheduling conflict, we will have that on September 3rd at 6:30 in the law enforcement center in the courthouse.
Second that motion.
Supervisor Jorgensen has moved, and the second by Supervisor Kiefer to the second reading of the ordinance amendment to Floyd County's ordinance regarding wind energy conversion system and battery storage system on Tuesday, September 13th at 6:30 p.m. here in the law enforcement center. September
3rd.
Is there further discussion? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We have a new appointment. Well, it's not new to a lot of us. But we have the consideration of a new appointment for a member of the Conservation Board. In the packet, you'll see the application from former Supervisor Royce McCarrath, who served as the county's representative on that board for a number of years. Decided he'd like to serve in that volunteer capacity again. His application there.
Assume Adam, you okay with that?
Yes. Yeah. I would make a motion to approve, Royce Ricardo as the member of the County Conservation Board, and that term is for. What is the
I'm
term
sorry
of
about
that?
that.
So it would be when we just did in July. So it'd be 4.5 years.
This would get you through June 30th, 2028.
Yep.
For Doug Johnson, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
For a term of through June 30th, 2028.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been seconded by Kiefer.
Good question.
Yes,
Was Doug Johnson's term, did he resign because he's moving, or did he fulfill his term?
Well, he re-upped his term for a second term. So he finished out a term, and then in late June, July, we put him on again, and then it was shortly after he was figured out he was going to be.
A year ago in 23, he was appointed for a 5-year term.
So the terms are 5 years, not
Yeah.
4.5. Yeah.
And the prior one was, what you appointed was Laney Sandvig. And Cloverdale's, you renewed for a full 5-year term.
Full
Yeah, that put us back at a full board.
You don't have to worry about gender balance anymore.
right?
so was there a second? Yes, so, further discussion? Anyone on the call-in line like to comment on this, appointment to a conservation board? None, those in favor of the motion to appoint Royce Ricardo to be a member of the Floyd County Conservation Board for a term through June 30th of 2028. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Great. And we're noting the resignation of 2 employees. They're seasonal employees. Their last day will be on August 16th. New jobs on that. Noah Williams and Valak Walk. You noted. Pardon if I mispronounced the name.
Got it.
Oh, really? Good. Good guess. Future agenda items. Obviously, we talked about one. We're going to need a ballot question.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to confer with someone about that.
Will that be an agenda item?
It would
Need to be.
the ballot question would be drafted probably by an attorney. Last time we worked with John Danos, director. John Danos at the work, and you want to get that right. So probably something that I'll be working with right now. Getting him to start to put the question on the ballot. We need to have a real quick decision.
Is the,
Unless you're changing the ballot language. Same resolution they had before. I know Pat had talked about one. And that's the John. Not put in. Left to it.
So that could be an agenda item for discussion at our next meeting, but if that's the 19th, then the next meeting is the 26th. Absolutely has to happen on that. So we'd have to have a draft language either approved by someone by that time, or have a special meeting.
kind of on the same note, same area here, he was wondering about the educational fund materials, which go for signs or social media or other. Is that an agenda item?
I didn't hear that as part of as part of their recommendation. Is that part of your recommendation, the advisory board made for educational materials? I didn't hear that in.
I don't recall if it was or wasn't in the recommendation, but it was a conversation. Time it made it to the board of supervisors room, it might be.
I think you have to go with what was moved and approved at the advisory council meeting before you can add any additional language or educational material.
That would be on the ballot, educational.
Well, it's being discussed, but if it wasn't approved by the advisory committee, you just don't add things after the fact. I mean,
I understand.
I think it's been discussed at their meetings.
It has
And I don't know that they did anything prior year for board action. I think they're just looking like making flyers, reprint them. I am.
that might be, I don't know if I got into a lot of details of what they were. Well, they want to do flyers and handouts, so that might be all it consists of, but there's anything more. Other than that, that's it.
That red copy. Dana Larson.
okay, is that ready to use just a very word?
You mentioned that Winter Todd was out.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him. And I think it's just doing notice of a hearing.
Have they agreed to sell it? And is that what we're gonna do?
You have to agree to sell
Yeah,
it.
that's
It's yours
what I
to
mean,
sell.
but the term Dana is
He's offered to purchase.
offered to purchase, but we don't know if Todd is to be
So. Notice, like you did for the Rockford property. I don't know if anybody's talked to him about unpaid rent. But, what's that?
300 or 400 or something.
Yeah, it's $300 a year.
That was a part of the offer.
They didn't mention.
Well, it probably needs to be an agenda item, I would assume.
Yeah, sounds good. Is there anything else?
No.
All right, that disposes of all business before the board. Item 13 is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jordan to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
So I hang up when there's Susan.